Hello, hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Garrett Bake, your brother in arms, and welcome to another episode of The Tactical Businessman. Today's topic: that stupid hotel in San Diego. So I'm going to tell you a little story that just happened to me. As some of you know, and most of you, I'm sure, if not, hey, what I do is I'm a coach, right? That's one of the things that's really the thing that I do now. I was a police officer for 15 years, and now, I help with productivity, time management, work-life balance, all of these things in this space. And I had an event planned for some of my clients in San Diego this coming week. If any of you have ever been to San Diego in the summertime, you know it is busy as hell because everybody from Arizona and everywhere else wants to escape to the beach, the sunshine, just a beautiful place. So a couple of months ago, I made a reservation at a hotel, the Westgate Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel. I was going to hold most of my event there. They have meeting spaces. It's just a beautiful place right downtown. And so I went to hotels.com. I got a pretty good deal on the hotel. It was 3 nights, and I got it for, I think, $1,200 and some change, something like that. So a little expensive, but San Diego's expensive. So anyway, I had this booked, everything set up. Well, last week or week before last, there was a change of plans just because of logistics. I ended up moving the event to Phoenix. And the last thing that I needed to do to change everything over was to change the hotel. I have another event coming up in July in San Diego, and so I was going to just move the dates. Hey, from June to July, one quick phone call and we'll be done. So I call the hotel and I'm like, hey, this is what happened. Can I change to these dates? And the lady over the phone politely but firmly said no. I was like, excuse me? She said, no, we have a no cancellation and a no refund, a no exchange policy. I was like, well, I'm not really changing anything. Like, you're still going to have my money. It's just going to be for a different date. And we went back and forth for about 5 minutes, but ultimately she said no. And I got pretty pissed off. So I called hotels.com, who I booked this hotel through. And I said, hey, listen, this is my situation. These things changed, whatever. I'm not looking to get my money back. I'm looking to just change my dates. And they said, okay, well, hold on. Let me talk to the hotel. So after about 20 minutes of this ordeal, she comes back and she's like, well, I'm sorry, we can't change anything. I was like, what do you mean you can't change anything? She said, we can't change anything because the hotel has a no refund and no cancellation policy, and we abide by the hotel's rules. And so I got really, really pissed off. And this has been simmering for a couple of days now, right? And then this morning I use I got this tool that I use that kind of helps me get clear on some things that are holding me back. And I'm going through this process of, asking myself these questions and getting the clarity that I need. And then it hits me like a ton of bricks. Like a ton of bricks. This biggest lesson that I'm learning right now is my life has been full of cancellation, refund, and change policies. Like, I have not lived a life as committed as I should be living. Now think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. And I'll come back to this hotel story here in a second. I want to share something else with you. When I first became a police officer, and every police officer who goes to the academy, they teach them this. I have a really good friend right now who's going through the police academy here in Phoenix, and they teach them this thing. They teach them about this place called the fatal funnel. And the fatal funnel is basically any place. Now, it refers to a hallway, right, where you can't get behind cover concealment. In other words, you're completely exposed. And they teach you not to be in this place because why? The likelihood of something bad going or something bad happening and then you getting hurt goes up exponentially in this quote unquote funnel, this place where you're unprotected. You can't process information quick enough to make a decision and try and figure out where to go and trying to figure out what your response should be and all of these things. You can't do it when you're in this space. So they always teach officers, put yourself in a position of advantage, right? Put yourself in a position where you have some concealment, where you have some cover, where you have distance, something that creates time for you, time to be able to process what's happening, right? But the ultimate thing is that they teach you to process this information. In other words, they don't teach you to run away. When you're confronted with a threat, you have to deal with the threat. There's no way for you to like call time out. There's no way for you to say, I don't want to do this right now. There's no way, like you have to deal with it right then. And a lot of you, it being 2019, you've seen a lot of videos. You've heard a lot of police officers confronting subjects in different ways, shapes, or forms. But you've seen the stress that they're under in this particular position. Now, some officers receive more training than others. Like, let's be honest, if you live in a rural podunk town, you're not going to receive the same training as living in a major metropolitan area and working for a major police department. Nonetheless, they still teach you this basic concept, this basic idea. And the interesting thing there as well is it's a mindset thing. They teach you the mindset of there are no other options. You are fully committed to this. In other words, you need to find a solution for it right now. You can't call time out. You can't go back anywhere. Like, you have to find a solution for it right now. And so it forces you to, you're fully committed, and it forces you to find a solution within the confines or the parameters that you've been given. Back to the hotel. I'm not getting my money back. Now, I could be a shady mofo, and I'm sure some of you have done this before, and if you have, go ahead and raise your hand, admit to that. I could go, because this was also brought up by a friend, I could go and call my credit card company and say that my card was this was an unauthorized charge. I could totally go and do that, and I could get my $1,200 back. But is that really going to long-term solve the issue behind the issue? And the issue behind the issue is I committed to this, and I'm trying to back out. I'm looking for an exchange, for a refund, for whatever. I'm looking for a way out. Instead of owning the fact that I committed to this, I tried to find a solution. The ones that I tried didn't work, so let me look and see what else is available. And so what solution did I come up with? Well, ultimately, I'm going to be here in Phoenix running my event those same days, so I can't use it. So I asked my wife. I said, hey, I got 3 days in this really nice hotel. What do you want to do with it? And so she called up her sister. She called up her mom. They're going to have a girls' weekend in San Diego, just the three of them with a couple of their children. Problem solved. Like, my wife gets a women's weekend, which ultimately benefits her and benefits me. She gets to spend time with her sister and her mother. I get to be here and be present with the men that I'm with. And I no longer feel like I've, quote unquote, wasted $1,200, thrown it away. In other words, within the confines that I was given, you have these 3 hotel days in this hotel. You can't change them. What are you going to do with it? This is what I chose to do. See, the same thing happens to police officers. They're put in these situations over and over and over again, starting with training, where they don't have an alternative. So they start to learn to say, okay, in the confines of this situation, what are my best options? Now, I'll be the first to admit to you that I struggled with this mightily when I first started. Mightily. I would throw safety to the wayside. I would run in willy-nilly like a cowboy, thinking that I could save the day. And there was numerous times, if you've been listening to this podcast for any period of time, we are on episode 96, that I've shared some stories of situations where I should have been shot. I should have been hurt. A lot of things should have happened. But within the confines, I had to make something happen, right? And so I want to share another story with you. There was this dealer, and he's a younger kid. I didn't know it at the time, but we heard that he was selling ecstasy pills. And I was working narcotics at the time, so as a narcotics detective, my job is to find people who are selling drugs, buy drugs from them, and then arrest them. Yep, that's right. Cops buy drugs. We don't use them. We do buy them. We build cases. So I get a phone number for this guy. We text back and forth. Who are you? Who are you? I'm trying to figure out who he is. He's trying to figure out who I am. Eventually, I throw out some names of some people that I know, and it kind of gets worked out. So he, quote unquote, trusts me, right? So we're going to do this deal. And I end up, I think I was going to buy 100 pills or a couple hundred pills. Anyway, it was going to be a pretty decent amount for a few $100s. And we agreed to meet in a Walmart parking lot. Yes, that's right. Cops do drug deals in Walmart parking lots. So the confines had been set, right? We knew that where we were going to go. I knew exactly where I was going to be positioned. I knew the confines of the signals that I needed to give to my cover team as far as a rest or distress. I knew what it was that I was buying, how much I was paying for it, how much I was willing to pay for. Like I had all these confines, all these parameters drawn out. There were no other options other than this. Well, he eventually shows up and he gets into the passenger seat of my car. And as he gets in, I hear this noise, this clanking noise of metal against metal. Now, some of you may know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, this is a gun, right? The only thing that makes that noise of metal clanking against metal is a gun. So he brought a gun to the drug deal. Now, I myself am always armed, so I had a gun too, but you never want the bad guy to have a gun, because if they have a gun, odds are they've either been robbed before or they're looking to rob you. So now I'm in these confines, and I have limited options. One of the options is I could give the distress signal. The cover team, i.e. the officers that are there in the area meant to take care of me, could come in, rush in, and deal with this situation. But what? I'm still in the car with him, so I could get caught in the crossfire. He could turn on me. There's a lot of different things that could happen there. All right, so I've got these going through my head. What's the next option? The next option is I have to confront him. Like, I could pretend that I didn't hear it, that he doesn't have a gun with him, or I could just confront him. And at least from that, one, my cover team would know that he had a gun, and I could know his demeanor and what it was that he was trying to do. So I proceed to have a conversation with him. I'm like, hey, bro, like, you got a gun? He's like, yeah, I got a gun. Why'd you bring a gun? And we have this conversation. Oh, I've been robbed before, this, that, and the other. I'm like, hey, man, I'm not interested. I'm not in any of that. I'm just here for business, and talk him off the ledge. And so we proceed to do the transaction, right? I give him the money, he gives me the pills, and we separate out. Well, ends up that we are going to arrest him after that. Well, he tries to take off. His car gets hit by a police car. He still runs, almost runs over somebody in front of the Walmart. They go behind the Walmart. They jump a couple walls. Like, it turns into this huge deal, right? Which meant that there was a likelihood of him not wanting to actually just do the transaction, right? He was that type of person. But because I'd established that commitment, like, I was already committed to doing this deal, and it was going to happen one way or the other, what's the best way for me to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish, right? And I chose that path, and I committed to that path, and I went down that path, and it ended up, right? He got charged, he got arrested, and all of these other things. So why do I tell you these three things? Well, I tell you these three things for one reason and one reason only. The lack of results that you have in your life right now are completely 100% related, not to your desire to have more, not to your desire to change, but your commitment to those changes. Think about this. When you got married, you committed, put a little ring on there, right? You committed either for the rest of your life or for time and all eternity or whatever it was that you did. You committed to your wife. Yet you're still looking at your options. Cancellation refund policy. In other words, you're texting another woman, or you're just looking at other women online, or you're just whatever. You're addicted to porn, so that's your other woman. I mean, whatever it is, you're not 100% fully committed to your relationship, which is why you've had the lack of results that you've had, which is why you haven't taken the efforts to create that environment that you want within the confines of marriage. Like, that was your commitment, was marriage. There's no refund, there's no cancellation. As long as you see marriage as having a refund or a cancellation policy, you're going to take that option. You're going to. In your business, like when I first started in business, I wanted to try everything and please everyone. I have a program for everyone. I can help everyone. And by trying to do everything for everyone, I satisfied no one, because that's impossible to do. And so I had to niche down and say, okay, who am I to the marketplace, and who is it that I'm trying to talk to? Now, within these confines, this commitment that I made, how is it that I can maximize who it is that I am? Same thing when it comes to your body. You can talk about the gym all day long. You can talk about the different options that are available to you, CrossFit or high intensity or regular gym or Gold's Gym or LA Fitness or Lifetime Fit, like whatever it is, you could talk about all these options that are available to you. But until you commit and say that there are no other options, that within these confines, this is where I'm going to get my results, you're not going to get results. So I want you to consider this. Again, the lack of results in your life is not tied to your organizational abilities, to your time management, to your work-life balance. It's tied 100% completely to your commitment, because you're still living with the refund cancellation policy in your back pocket. What if there was no refund or cancellation policy? What if your only option was to figure it out? How committed would you be? How would your results be different? All right, that's all I got for you today. Listen, find an area in your life right now, be it with your relationship, be it with your business, be it with your body. Find one, identify where it is that you still got that refund policy in your back pocket, tear it up, get rid of it, and go all in. And watch what happens when you do. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.